Go inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV with Rodney Orr and Gary Harris.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Tider Insider TV alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I'm Gary Harris. Tonight we're enjoying Diet Pepsi from Buffalo Rock. Our program presented every Tuesday night by Buffalo Rock, and some great refreshment here as it's starting to get hot outside, and it's also starting finally, Rodney, to get close to the NFL draft. It seems like the build-up for this draft, I guess because the lockout, has been never ending. It's been going on and on, but it'll start Thursday night, and they'll have the first round on Thursday night. 3 UA players probably going to hear their names called in the first round. Marcel Darius and Julio Jones are locks for the first round. Mark Ingram, a likely first rounder as well. We remember Copeland, Curry, and George Teague all going in the first round. I know there's been some years where Alabama's had 2 first-round picks, but really 3 is a magic number, Rodney, when you think about the fact that each team gets 1 first-round pick unless they trade it away. But to have 3 players off 1 squad, and in this case all juniors, be first-round picks, not only does it mean they're great football players, but it's a great advertisement for your program, what you're trying to do. Let's be honest, you're trying to win games at the University of Alabama, but in terms of recruiting, you're also trying to send guys on to the National Football League. In Darius's case, he's possibly going to be the first overall pick of the Carolina Panthers if it's not Cam Newton. Julio Jones could go as high, maybe potentially as 6th. 10th to the Washington Redskins looks like a possibility. Certainly if he's available at 14, the Rams are going to scoop him up, and then Ingram, as I said, probably in that 15 to 25 range. But great football players, great ambassadors for the University of Alabama, and now an opportunity to go on and be terrific NFL players.
Yeah, and what a recruiting class that was, Gary. You know, it was ranked #1 in the country, 2008 class, and obviously an outstanding class, and possibly more to come in the future with some of the guys still in the program.
Yeah, we covered that class. You'll remember here on Tider Insider TV, and you on your website, me on the sports. And we said then you have to wait and see what happens. But while we're talking about the draft, and we're looking at 3 of these guys, and of course a lot of them are going to be seniors this year on the football team, but it really did live up to the hype. #1 rated class. They won a national championship. They played for 2 SEC championships, of course, won 10 games this past year, I think 36 games they won in 3 years. This junior class that came in 2008. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was. No, and they're not done.
Right.
I mean, think about next year. I mean, they have an opportunity to put up some really huge numbers. I mean, possibly 50 wins in their career.
And for Ingram, Darius, and Julio Jones, the draft will call their names probably on Thursday night, but the 2nd and 3rd rounds on Friday, and then they wrap it up on Saturday. There'll be some other Alabama players that hear their names called on Friday night and over the weekend. Now, Nick Saban, of course, watching the draft closely, and he understands all the positive publicity Alabama's getting because of the draft, and here's what he had to say about it.
I think it speaks volumes for, the kind of quality university we have to attract those kind of players, as well as the program itself to help develop those guys to play at that sort of level of consistency, standard of excellence, to be thought of highly enough to go in the first round.
And Rodney, there used to be a time when players left early, it was fans didn't like it. They almost thought of those guys as, oh, they're not loyal to their school. Now it's almost a badge of honor. If you recruit well enough, players come in and help your program early, like Darius, Julio Jones, and Ingram all did. You win a national championship. It's good for everybody. They move on to the NFL in terms of, the positive publicity that Alabama's been receiving, and also in terms of recruiting. It helps you recruit the top-tier players because you say, look at what these guys did, and it also loosens up frees up some space to bring in more great players. So in this day and age, it's really a win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, and that just makes recruiting that more important every year, Gary. And when you look at it, talking to players all over the country, one of the first things they bring up their interest in Alabama is because Nick Saban, his reputation, and the reputation they built here over the last few years of getting players to the next level. And I mean, that's extremely important. It's a great tool in recruiting.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you more about that. I know Coach Saban, certainly he recruits in terms of academics. He recruits in terms of winning games and trying to win a championship at the University of Alabama. But he also does recruit in terms of the NFL. And this is the proof in the pudding, is what he told these guys when he recruited them. Hey, you come here, you work hard, you'll have a chance to be a first-round draft pick. And now that message is not just a message anymore. It's been proven out the last few years since he's been here.
Yeah, the track record's there. And, again, talking to players all over the country, Gary, that's the one thing they talk about, is that Nick Saban has a reputation not only of getting players to the NFL, but certainly developing players while they're here, giving them the best opportunity to get to the next level. And let's be honest. you know, every guy's goal when he signs that scholarship is to make it to the next level.
And very few will, but Alabama's going to have a number of them that do from the 2010 Crimson Tide football team. Of course, Alabama football will move on without Darius, Ingram, Julio, Greg McElroy, and others. And everybody's getting excited. Spring football is over, but the 2011 team, does it have the championship medal? Well, we'll have to find out as the season played out. But there's no doubt that the 2009 team is the most recent measuring stick, the way the 1992 team was for a long time. But it's the last national championship team. And, you know, Coach Saban certainly isn't going to say any team is good enough to win a national championship. But if you've listened to him talk, including here recently, he doesn't rule out the possibility that the 2011 team has the potential to be very, very good.
I think we've got enough good players like a lot of teams do. It all comes down to the chemistry and commitment that you get from the players, and you got to have a little bit of luck too. You got to keep the right guys healthy and, you know, that type of thing, but I think that's the real key to it.
As I said earlier, Rodney, he's not going to hype up a team before it's ever played a game, but at the same time, I think he's built this program to the point now, and I say the 2011 team, I think, heck, he expects every team that he puts out there going forward to be a championship contender.
Well, and you look at this team, you look at what Nick Saban likes to do, Gary. They like to run the football. I think they should have an outstanding running game. I think the offensive line was becoming solidified towards the end of the spring. If Barrett Jones stays at left tackle or maybe someone else develops there and he moves back to right guard, regardless, the offensive line should be there. They should be able to run the football with Trent Richardson. Eddie Lacy's a guy to really watch next year. I think he's going to burst on the scene. Just the development of the quarterbacks. We'll see how that, you know, kind of pans out once fall practice starts. But, you know, the defense should be very, very good.
Well, we'll talk more football later in the program, but right now we're going to talk about another program at Alabama that's championship caliber, and that's Crimson Tide softball, one of the premier programs in the country. But I'll tell you something, Rodney, when they get beat, it isn't just your ho-hum loss, because they're so good that even when they lose, they take it down to the wire. They've had some gut-wrenching losses this year, gut-wrenching losses in the last few years to Florida. We saw more of that this weekend in Gainesville. They won game one on Friday night 5-0, then lost on a walk-off home run in game two, and then lost a true heartbreaker in game three in extra innings after they'd gone up 2-0. Florida comes back to score 3 runs to win it in the 8th inning, 3-2. So this Tide softball team is good, Rodney, but is there a concern now that mentally, particularly with Kelsey Dunn, she's given up so many walk-off home runs and heartbreaking losses, do you think it's gotten in their head a little bit that if the game's close in extra innings that they feel like they're not going to pull it out?
Well, you know, last year they pulled one out in the College World Series like that when they hit the home run. The girl from Tuscaloosa County hit the home run that won the game. And then the next game, they lost to Florida in the same way?
Yeah,
same manner.
Right.
2 years ago? Okay. And but I mean, it's just I don't know if it's in the mind or whatever, Gary. I just think it's just part of the game.
After dominating Florida for a number of years, the Gators have really had Alabama's number now. They have won, I think, 8 of the last 11 against the Crimson Tide, so that has become a nemesis. But as Pat Murphy has said, when you play Alabama, it's kind of like football now. Everybody gets up to play the Crimson Tide softball team. They play it like it's the World Series. It's just what you have to deal with when you're really, really good. Well, still to come on Titv, we'll talk recruiting, who's on Bama's radar, and which players will be in town this week. Rodney will have the answers. And the Alabama baseball team had a rough weekend in Gainesville, too. Really rough. Will they bounce back and have a chance to make the SEC tournament? Or will this season continue to go south? We'll discuss, and we'll listen to you. We'll take your phone calls, also answer your email questions if you have some. You can reach us at 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Or email us at titv@wvuatv.com. Stay tuned because you're watching the show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV, presented each week by Buffalo Rock. Welcome back to Tider Insider TV alongside Rodney Orr. I'm Gary Harris. Your phone calls and emails in just a bit. We're going to talk Bama baseball. We knew going into the season, we talked about it on this program, that this team was going to be offensively challenged. I mean, after all, their best hitters was that great infield last year. Jake Smith, Rutledge at short, Phillips, Wilson at second, and of course Jones at first. All those guys moved on to pro ball, and they were not only good gloves, but as I said, big hitters. But all of a sudden, Alabama comes out in the SEC and starts out 7-1, and looked like they were going to go to 8-1. They lost a heartbreaker against Arkansas, but since that time, it's gone south in a hurry, and now they're reeling in the wrong direction. They lost that doubleheader at home to Tennessee, where they scored a total of 1 run in 2 games, and then they got swept this past weekend at Florida, and The pitching's been fine. Pitching's been good enough to win. The bats, though, really, really struggling right now.
Yeah, I mean, you just summed it up, Gary. I mean, what else can you do? Mitch Gaspard's going to have to find, some way to get it turned around, and it may not be this year.
The thing about it is they're still the top 8 from the conference, even though they're divisions, the top 8 records go to the SEC tournament in Hoover. Certainly that's the goal. They're still there. They still have a chance, but they're going to have to turn it around. It needs to start this weekend at Mississippi State. They need to go over there to Starkville and get 2 out of 3, or their chances for the SEC tournament are going to get slim indeed. Well, coming up, Rodney has his recruiting update for this week. Some more names that you may not have heard of yet, but you'll hear about them here in just a few minutes. Also, we'll be taking your phone calls and getting to your emails. There's the information you need to get in touch with us, so give us a call. We want to hear from you. We'll talk recruiting, take phone calls, and more when Tider Insider TV returns right after this. Football recruiting update time with Rodney Orr. You've got a number of updates on your site at TiderInsider.com. We're going to talk about some of those guys, and let's start with Russell Shell. Russell. Now, he could be, on some people's radar, the #1 running back in the country. He's out of Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, but Alabama's in the mix. 6,700
yards already, Gary. 2,713 last year, 30 touchdowns rushing, 36 touchdowns overall. Look at his size. That's Nick Saban's size. That's what he likes. He actually played at about 218 last year. Alabama's one of several schools in the mix. He's kind of keeping things, as we said on our website, hush-hush. He's not talking too much about the recruiting process, but Alabama, again, certainly in the mix. He's very well aware of what Alabama's done with Mark Ingram and Trent Richardson, so that helps Alabama.
A guy that's seen his stock skyrocket is a junior college player, Travell Dixon, originally from Miami, but he's got that great size that you look for in a lockdown quarterback.
Yep, and you look at him, Gary, you talk about prospects and these 5 stars and all this. When he came out of high school, he only played 1 year of high school football at cornerback. Nobody knew about him. He didn't even have any junior college offers. He had to hunt one down and ended up at Eastern Arizona Community College, where he is right now. Alabama's offered, Arkansas, several other schools. Miami's offered. Florida's looking really hard at him. So a little bit of competition there, but he knows. I talked to him at length last Friday, and he's well aware of Nick Saban's reputation for developing defensive backs and the success they've had with guys here, and including DeQuan Menzie. So, who was a junior college player, by the way. So I think that helps Alabama out quite a bit. He said he's going to make an official visit here in September, so we'll see how that pans out. You don't find many with that kind of size.
Dixon, no offers out of high school. The same can't be said, though, for Noah Spence.
Oh, he's got offers from everyone, from Harrisburg, PA, Bishop McDevitt High School, being recruited, I think, by Sal Sinceri, who's got a reputation up in that entire state there due to the fact he played at Pitt. But Noah Spence thinks he's going to get the Alabama offer really soon, and said he would probably take an unofficial visit down here. And again, Gary, he's got over 30-plus offers right now. He'd probably be a jack linebacker here at Alabama.
Jordan Watkins plays at the famed Woodward Academy over there in the Atlanta area. Grew up a Georgia Tech fan, but Georgia's on his radar, and so is Alabama.
Grew up a Georgia Tech fan, went to Georgia a couple of weeks ago. They showed him the broadcast journalism school, showed him the TV station they have on campus. If Alabama wants Jordan Watkins, and he's got offers from all over the country, including Alabama, they need to bring him to this TV station, Gary.
Because this television station is a commercial television station, so he might be up here with us one day doing Tider Insider TV if he comes to Alabama. We shall see. All right, let's talk about the Badger 7-on-7 camp coming up this weekend. Some top prospects will be in Tuscaloosa.
Yep. Deion Bonner, the great cornerback from over in the state of Georgia. Columbus Carver, he's supposed to be here, a part of that Georgia team. Kenyon Drake, already committed to Alabama, running back, athlete. He's going to be a part of that team, as well as Geno Smith from Atlanta, St. Pius, who's one of the top cornerbacks in the country. He's going to be a part of the Georgia team as well. Many other guys, Gary, will be in town, so it's an opportunity. Though it's not really an unofficial visit, they're on campus. They get an opportunity to be around, see the facilities and so forth, so that helps Alabama a little bit.
Something you'll be watching this weekend, and we'll talk about it next Tuesday night. All right, let's go to the phones. We've got some callers waiting. First up is Trey in West Blockton. Trey, welcome in.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, I guess everybody knows by now that SI's Peter King has Mark Ingram not listed as a first-round pick, in his recent Sports Illustrated first-round mock draft. Is it just the case of an analyst wanting to be a maverick, just go against the grain or whatever? Or, because everybody else, literally, I guess everybody except King has Ingram going in the first round. If not, like you said, Gary, you could go conceivably as high as number 15 to Miami. What are your thoughts?
Well, to be honest with you, Trey, who knows where he's going to end up going. I know that some teams have put it out, supposedly some people in the NFL have put it out that his knee injury is worse than what has been broadcast, so to speak. But, then others say, no, his knee's fine. So you really don't know if those people putting out that information are just trying to discourage teams from taking him to position themselves to get Mark Ingram. I think he's going in the first round.
Yeah, I do too, but I certainly don't think Peter King's trying to be a Maverick. He's well respected. I think he's making a guess. I think one aspect of it is there's some teams that have some needs, but there's actually a deep running back draft. There's just not many first rounders. Ingram's probably the one on the board, but I think a lot of people are looking at value and figuring they can get a position of need and then get a running back later in the draft. And that's probably what his reasoning is. Certainly not a knock on Mark Ingram. I don't take it that way at all. And whether he's a first rounder or a second rounder, he's going to play in the National Football League for a long time, Trey. I think we all believe that. All right, let's talk with John, who is right here in Tuscaloosa. John, welcome in. John, you with us? All right, I wanted to know what happened to Andre Smith. Well, he's still playing for the Cincinnati Bengals, John, and, has had some injury issues. As we know, he's had some issues with his weight. He has gotten a rap as a guy who doesn't work as hard as you need to work to be a really good player on that level. But let's keep this in mind before we write him off. And, he may not turn out to be a great player, but he's still a really young player. He came out after his junior season. He was a true junior as an offensive lineman. He's only played 2 years in the National Football League, so he still has an opportunity to kind of right the ship, and I think Cincinnati will give him a chance again this year to win a job on that offensive line.
Yeah, you certainly hope that he takes advantage of all of his opportunities, Gary, because I know there has been some work ethic issues, weight issues, as you mentioned, but you sure hope for his sake that he doesn't he doesn't waste his talent and gives himself every opportunity to be very successful in the NFL, because he could be one of the best there is.
He's got some ability. We do know that. All right, Gary and Fayette, hang on. We'll get to you when we come back. More phone calls and emails right after this. We're outfitted again tonight in original elephant wear from the Locker Room, located on the University Strip, a Tuscaloosa tradition since 1964. We'd like to thank the Locker Room for making us look good here on Tider Insider TV. And if you want to look good, all you got to do is drop by the Locker Room Monday through Saturday, or you can check them out online at www.locker-room.biz. They are there to help you, and they will have you looking good. And I tell you, this original elephant wear, I'd like to take a little bit of credit for it since we've been wearing it for a while, but I see it everywhere now around town. I see people.
What are you going to take credit for?
For helping to get it out there. Right. People see us in it, and they want to, they want to be like Rodney Orr and get them some original elephant wear. All you got to do is go by the Locker Room, Rush, and the good folks there, Mr. Gatewood, will hook you up. All right, let's get right back to the phones and talk with Gary and Fayette. Gary, go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to know about Dylan Lee out of Buford, Georgia, which way he's leaning.
Well, Gary, I tell you, we talked to Dylan about a month and a half ago, and I know he was planning at that time to make an unofficial visit to Alabama, and that was going to supposedly he was going to make his commitment. And as he told us, he was leaning to Alabama at the time. Now, again, Alabama is in on a lot of top-notch players, and they're not going to be able to take them all. Dylan Lee, right now, there's some talk maybe he's leaning to FSU. We'll see what happens, but you mentioned he is from Buford, Georgia. He is a great prospect. But again, Alabama cannot simply take everybody.
What position is he right now?
He's a linebacker.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's take an email. This is an email question in regards to the 2012 draft from Trey. Does it seem likely that Courtney Upshaw will sneak in around one of the 2000 NFL draft? Well, I don't know that he'll have to sneak in. I'll be honest with you. I think that if he has a good year, he's going to be a first-round pick. I think there are a lot of people that feel like that with a good performance this season, he's that guy that can rush the passer. He's also big and strong enough to take on blocks at the line of scrimmage and play the run. So I think he's got a chance to be a mid-round first-round pick next year.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's a good football player and has a chance to put together a great season for Alabama, no doubt about that. All right, let's take an email from Ben. Will Barrett Jones stay at left tackle? It's a good question, Ron.
Yeah, it's a real good question. And again, I think that what he did by the Alabama staff, again, Nick Saban always seems to be prepared. And he took Barrett Jones, an outstanding right guard, as we know, moved him to the left side, trying to solidify that left tackle spot in case that was the way it needed to be. And if Aaron Douglas and Alfred McCullough, didn't progress, then they need somebody to fill that spot. So I think that's a great move. Will he stay there? We'll find out come fall. We'll see how much Aaron Douglas progresses. But at right guard now you have Anthony Steen, Gary, and he's an outstanding prospect. He was very highly thought of by Alabama coming out of high school, and a lot of schools didn't recruit him. you know, they're in the state of Mississippi. I don't even think Ole Miss really recruited Anthony Steen that hard. But, again, he is a tremendous prospect as well at that right guard spot.
Yeah, you're trying to find 5. You want it to fit like a glove, as the old saying, on the offensive line. But the good news is Alabama's got a lot of talent on the offensive line, so they can try some different combinations there. All right, coming up, the University of Alabama honored success in the classroom in terms of its athletes last night. We'll have that story when Tider Insider TV continues. The Alabama baseball team trying to get back on the winning track. A tough place to play, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. The Tide jumped out to a 2-0 lead, but Southern Miss has come back with solo home runs, 2 of them in the bottom of the third. We're tied now 2-2. Of course, we'll have more on that game for you tonight on our sportscast at 10 o'clock. Well, Monday night, the University of Alabama celebrated the student part of the student athlete. The annual Academic Achievement Awards banquet was held at the Zone in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Women's cross country and men's golf were honored as the teams with the highest grade point averages. Quarterback Greg McElroy from the football team and gymnast Kayla Hoffman earned the Paul W. Bryan Award, given each year to the top male and female student athletes. Congratulations to all of them. These athletes at Alabama not only achieving on the field and on the court, but in the classroom as well, which is ultimately what you go to college to do. All right, it's time for dinner. We're headed to the Pottery Grill tonight over in Northport for some outstanding barbecue. Hope to see you there. Come out and meet us about 7:15. And don't forget, if you missed any of tonight's show, you can get it on our website, WVUATV.com. We'll have it posted later on this evening. So for Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching Tider Insider TV, and we'll see you again right here next week.